Ooh, what's up, everybody? My name is OMG WTF LOF to WBRB. Welcome back to more Total Extreme Wrestling 2016, not 2020. And in this video, it's going to be a little bit different here because we're going to be covering two things here. It's not going to be any, action oriented. We're not going to be covering any shows whatsoever. It's just kind of going to be an update on what's going on in both the world of the InVasion storyline and the world of the, what's it called again? Local to global challenge world, whatever you want to call that. Anyway, so I'm going to cover both of those in this one video just to kind of get it out of the way. So this video might be a little bit longer if you're interested in just the local to global stuff, which, hey, if you are, that's cool on you. I'm surprised, but I suspect a lot more of you are interested in more of the InVasion stuff than the local to global. But if you're here to see local to global, in that we're going to be kind of covering the end of the year of I think it's 1970, so maybe we're in 1971 now. I'm not entirely sure. We'll see when we get to that. That's going to kind of be like the end of the year recap. In this one, I'm going to be going over the developmental territories shows, along with some shows that don't exist, but it's going to be kind of fun to look at them because the game kind of booked them themselves. So real quick before we get started in this again, in the last video, which was Nitro, I had said that we were going to just go ahead and do Starrcade this week because I didn't have anything else I wanted to book. And I kind of wish I didn't say that because in second thought and hindsight, I really do have a lot more things that I need to kind of book. That one more show would help me book, because while we have like the, for instance, let's go ahead and look at the storylines. While we have the like the World Championship storyline set, we haven't really like announced any other matches aside from like what is it, Rock versus, see, I can't even remember. I think it was Rock versus Diamond Dallas Page and Scott Steiner versus Eddie Guerrero. Yeah. Those are like the only two matches we've announced, and I don't want to kind of do one of those December to Dismember mashups where like, hey, even though these matches weren't ever announced, we're just throwing them on the card. So I'm going to use that last Nitro to kind of get that in, those last few segments to really put over the pay-per-view and sell the pay-per-view as it should be. So since that did end up happening, I did I kind of skipped Sunday Night Heat, and I know a lot of you are like, oh no Sunday Night Heat, but there's not going to be a Sunday Night Heat for this week. We'll just say maybe, I don't want to say tragedy struck in real life or something that prevented us from airing the episode, but who knows, maybe something happened and we weren't. Who cares? Sunday Night Heat's not happening this week. I'm not going to try to come up with a storyline explanation as to why. We can go ahead and look at what Sunday Night Heat was, because usually with the Sunday Night Heat super shows, which I did go ahead and I was already in, I'll get to that when I get to that. But anyway, so normally when we have the Sunday Night Heat super shows, I like to try to act like that is Sunday Night Heat, because back in the day when Sunday Night Heat was on TV, it was kind of like the last minute effort to sell the pay-per-view as well, so it was kind of like its own little mini pay-per-view in a way. So normally the episodes that are Sunday Night Heat, I just kind of let the game book itself, and then I'll go ahead and I'll do Sunday Night Heat. Well, this time, not only did I let the game book Sunday Night Heat here, which I'm saying that word way too much right now, not only did I let the game book Heat right here because I didn't really have any intentions of... My intentions were that we were going to be doing the pay-per-view this Sunday. After I rethought it over, I decided that we weren't going to do it. Unfortunately, I was already proceeded into the booking of the show, and I couldn't go back because even though it's called Sunday Night Heat, it's held on Saturdays because I'm not really able to hold both shows on the same day for some reason. So it's held on Saturday, and if I would have gone, like, did the whole revert the save or whatever, it would have brought me back to the beginning of the week, which would have meant I had to rebook Monday Night Raw and Nitro, and I wasn't doing any of that. So I just decided, you know what, we're just going to let the game book this one too, act like these shows never happened, and then this Sunday will be the Sunday Night Heat Super Show and all that. So I thought it would be fun to kind of look at these shows as well, just to kind of laugh at what the game books, because I let the game book these. There's an auto book feature in the game where you can click on it and it'll just book it. You can decide if you want championship matches or not. Of course, I didn't want any championship matches, and I tried to make sure that there wasn't any storyline advancement in any of these, which I think I succeeded at. So anyway, with that being said, long story short, let's go ahead and look at the craziness of Sunday Night Heat that the game booked in our past previous shows. So the last show wasn't too bad, actually. It got a 54C minus, which I believe is pretty good for the actual television segment. The pay-per-view show needs to be a little better because it's technically a special event, so I guess we need to be a higher requirement in the ratings. Nonetheless, though, we never lose popularity on these shows anyway, because this is not considered, it's a B show, whereas this we can lose popularity on because, again, it is an event. So it started off with a backstage segment with Mick Foley and Vince McMahon. That's always a good way to start off the show. Two of our most popular stars on the roster, probably two of the best on the mic as well. 77 there. We then open up with a tag team. Oh no, it is a six-man. Okay, a six-man tag team match, which got a 44. Let's go ahead and click on this. I guess we can't. Never mind. It got a 44, which the one Billy Gunn, Primetime, Monty Brown, and Steven Richards went ahead and defeated Ron Waterman, Batista, and Kelso Courageous. We then had a backstage angle which was a confrontation involving Gail Kim and Nydia, which had a dreadful 8. Then a 21 rated match, which got I'm jumping ahead of myself here. A 21 rated match, which saw Gail Kim defeat Nydia. We then had a backstage segment between Hardcore Holly and Sean O'Haire, which got a 44, before Sean O'Haire went on to defeat. Golly, I gotta stop taking these long breaks in between recording segments because I just have a hard time speaking after every damn break. Anyway, Sean O'Haire defeats Hardcore Holly in the main event with a 51, and I'm going to act like in storyline, even though these shows don't technically exist, that this was a number one contendership match. Not for the championship, but to face Shawn Michaels, because that's why Sean O'Haire fought Shawn Michaels in the Super Show that did not happen. So here we have the Sunday Night Heat Super Show, which did have a pre-show matchup. 43 rated match, which saw Tank Abbott defeat Charlie Haas. We then opened up with a 51 as we have a hype video involving the one Billy Gunn and Primetime Monty Brown. Primetime Monty Brown went on to defeat Billy Gunn with a 46 rated match. Then Scott Sabbath went on to defeat Ron Waterman with a 12 rated match. Dreadful. Interview with Gail Kim. Hardcore Holly went on to defeat Batista, which got a 43. We had an interview with Chuck Palumbo, which got a 71. Tommy Dreamer defeating Gregory Helms, who is back from his injury, by the way. So I guess this is kind of his first match back from injury. That got a 55. A skit involving Vince McMahon and Mick Foley once again, I guess ending their storyline here in the brief Sunday Night Heat storyline. 73. Sandman went on to defeat Mike Sanders, which got a 49. Steven Richards defeats Mark Henry, which I'm not even sure how. 51. And then a pre-match interview with Rikishi, which got a 50. Sean Stasiak then went on to defeat Rikishi, which got a 58. That pre-match interview did nothing for the Big Quiche. And then finally, oh no, it's not time for our main event. It is our semi-main event. The illustrious match, the dream match, as we get the hype video involving Kevin Nash and Scotty 2 Hotty. 64 rated there, leading to the dream match of Kevin Nash going up against Scotty 2 Hotty, which got a 63. And Scotty Hotty, the underdog, always not able to pull it out. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Kevin Nash defeating Scotty 2 Hotty. And finally, we go on to our main event as we continue on with the Click theme here. They're working hard here tonight as Sean O'Haire defeated Hardcore Holly to earn a number one... it's not a number one contendership match. But anyway, he earned this match to take on the legendary Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. 68 rated for the hype video involving these two. We then have our main event, which is a 75. I believe that's a B-. Shawn Michaels goes ahead and defeats Sean O'Haire. Big shocker there, but either way, putting him over in the process, I'd like to imagine. I'd like to imagine. Anyway, let's go to some actual canon stuff. That's just in some dream world in fairyland or something like that. Let's go ahead and take a look at our developmental companies, because they had their shows, and I always like to look at their companies. Where the hell is the developmental companies? How do I get there again? Child companies. There we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and how do I look at them? I'm gonna have to do it this way, aren't I? Okay, let's go ahead and do it this way. That is workers. Okay. So I'm not entirely sure how it went down, but let's go ahead and just look at it in alphabetical order. I don't know who was the better rated freaking show or whatever. So anyway, so history. Let's just make sure they didn't have like a pay-per-view. Well, no, they didn't. It would be a special name like WrestlePocalypse. So HW Wrestling, one of the 3 developmental companies that we had, their last show saw Logan Kane. Oh, look, we can click on these ones. Logan Kane going over. This is Logan Kane, by the way. Logan Kane going over Gutter and Dave Swift with a 27 E-rated segment here. Followed up with a 22 E- rating as Sexy Sean Cassie goes over Chris Rombola. 31 E+ rating as Lance Cade defeats Cody Hawk. We then have a 32 E+ rating as Chad Coiler retains the HWA Cruiserweight Championship over Chance Beckett. Backstage brawl between D'Lo Brown and Chet Jablonski. I believe D'Lo Brown might be the OVW Heavyweight Champion. No, I don't think he is, actually. I think it's Fit Finlay. We're not even in OVW. It's HWA, but anyway, I think it's Fit Finlay. Moving on, we have a 41 solid D rating as Mike Bell, stepping away from tag team action, gets a victory over the Blue Meanie. Pretty big victory, in my opinion, too, there. And finally, in our main event, 54 C- rating, we have some tag team action here as the Blue Meanie's tag team partner, taking a break from being part of the Blue World Order, no longer Supernova, just Nova, teaming up with Johnny the Bull Stamboli to defeat D'Lo Brown and Yang. 48 D+ for the show. Moving on to NWA Wildside. They had a 49 D+ rating for their show, and we opened up with a 45 solid D rating as Hade Vanson defeated Scotty Wren in open action. We then moved on to a 31 E+ rating here as David Young goes over JC Daz and James Storm. 43 solid D rating here as Lazarus. Where's Lazarus? There he is. Lazarus retains the NWA Georgia Junior Heavyweight Championship over Sin Bodhi. 64 solid C rating. This was a hell of a match for on the developmental show. In fact, I think Paul London is just... I remember him being like the star of the show, and he just kills it. Like he's probably ready to be called up anytime now. Anyway, 64 solid C rating here for 6-man action as Ken Anderson teams with Brian Kendrick and Cassidy O'Reilly to defeat Paul London. Where's Jason Cross? There he is. Jason Cross and Onyx. I think Jason Cross and Onyx are the current tag team champions as well. And then even topping it off better, like a 64C is just not good enough. We have a 70C+. The phenomenal AJ Styles is in action. Unfortunately for him, he lost to Adam Jacobs. And finally, in our main event, Championship Change, 51D+ rating. Air Paris dethrones the son of the Nature Bloy. Yep. We were on a good streak there. Anyway, Air Paris defeating David Flair to become the NWA Wildside Heavyweight Champion for the first time in his career. Good for Air Paris. And then finally, let's move on to Ohio Valley Wrestling and look at their last show before we go. Oh, you know what? I think there's some new. I think I talked about this though already. Danny Davis, as you see here, it says run and owned by Danny Davis. I believe he just passed away. And us being the owner, we got Dave Republic to step in as the CEO, and Scott Demore is now the head booker of Ohio Valley Wrestling. So let's go ahead and look at the history for OVW. Their last show got a 47 solid D rating as we open up with tag team partners having a little bit of a one-on-one action against each other. I believe these two form the team SOS, I think they're called. Anyway, Andy Anderson gets the victory over Brett Sanders with a 33 E+ rating here. We then go to a 23 E- rating as BJ Payne retains the OVW Light Heavyweight Championship against JJ Perez. Then we have a 41 solid D rating. Hell of a women's match here as cheerleader Melissa retains the OVW Women's Championship against Mickie James. That could be a promising match in the future, too. We then have a 43 solid D rating here as John Cena, ever the upsetter, defeating Nate Hatred to retain the OVW Hardcore Championship. He may not seem like a hardcore champion, but he still is the hardcore champion, and he's putting these so-called garbage wrestlers in their place. 49 D+ rating here as Bull Buchanan goes over Ricky Banderas. And in our main event of the night, 48 D+ rating here as Fit Finlay retains the OVW Heavyweight Championship over the Damager. All right, before we move on to the local to global save, there is one thing I want to cover real quick here. Actually, there's two things I want to cover real quick here, and they involve things outside of the WWE. So the first thing I want to talk about is WWC, the World Wrestling Council, because as you can see here, there is now a new booker and CEO of the company. I may have covered this in one of the previous videos, but Dixie Carter, more famous for being the owner, and I guess the CEO of TNA/Impact Wrestling for the longest period of time. In this world, instead of going to the TNA voucher, she decided to take control of the Puerto Rican company, and no longer the Colognes company. It's now the Carter company. If we go ahead and let's go and look at the news archive. How long ago did this happen? Oh, right here. So did something happen? Oh, right here. Oh no, that's Carlito. That's not. Yeah, that's not him. I don't know what happened, but anyway, here's the news. Dixie Carter was appointed CEO of WWC earlier today and said that is she a guy? No, it says a female. Okay. Said that she was looking forward to taking the company forward to a new success. And since then, you may have noticed they have signed quite a lot of people. In fact, I would say a lot of people that you would see maybe signed in the early days of like TNA or ROH. So there's Kevin Sullivan. He's a legend. Then there's Teddy Hart, Jimmy Rave, Cash Flow. Now, admittedly, I may not know all of these guys, but I know like Teddy Hart, Jimmy Rave, and all of them. American Wild Child, Kevin Steen. I think we all know him. Romeo Roselli, Tony Tazoi, and Salvatore Renuru. They're hiring a lot of different kind of people that I think before, well, as you can see here, look at some of the people that worked for the company before Dixie Carter kind of took over. Let's take out, so we know she just hired him. There's this guy, Akiti Malumba, Barry Windham, Black Boy. A lot of these people are relatively older, as you can tell. Hey, look, there's a young Primo Colon. But look at a lot of them. I think that's the first young person that's actually worked for this company that's not signed. Oh, look, Horace Hogan. That's not signed by Dixie Carter recently. Yeah, a lot of these guys are in their late 30s, early 40s and whatnot. Like the oldest person she signed was Kevin Sullivan, but obviously he's a road agent, so that's why she signed him. So Dixie Carter is definitely looking to take this into a young direction right now, and it'll be I'm going to keep a close eye on this, to be honest. I'm interested to see where she takes this. Another thing is that I want to talk about is TNA. So as of right now, I've kind of been operating TNA. Not in the sense that I've been running shows, because I've been pushing back their show for the longest time, but mostly because I've just kind of hired their talent. And even though maybe I shouldn't have, maybe I shouldn't have touched it and just left them alone, I went ahead and I kind of jumped in and took control over TNA here, and went ahead and I hired a lot of the talent for them. As you can see, here's a lot of the talent that I ended up hiring for them that are not only pretty popular, but kind of fits the criteria. You can see there's a lot of females that are hired here, and I'm not saying it as a bad thing, but a lot of them are managers. They don't have an actual female division yet, so it's a very sex appeal based company. So I hired a lot of females to kind of get around that. And in fact, if I proceed to the next day, I think we'll actually go to TNA. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Yeah. So here you see we're on TNA, and let's go ahead and look at the roster that I have signed for them. So how do I want to do this? Let's look at it like this. We'll go enhancement talents first and go from there. So the only enhancement talent they have is currently Kenny Omega. I think we all know who Kenny Omega is, like him or hate him. He was good in the game, or he was like a suggested person, so I went ahead and I hired him. Very young, only 19 years old at this moment. He's a fun baby face, so he's getting his face out there, and it's a chance for him to shine. We then move on to the openers. We have Drew Galloway. I think we all know who Drew Galloway is. And Naruki Doi, who you may or may not know. Drew Galloway is the first person who will have a manager here. In fact, it won't let me look at them, but let's go ahead. Let's just reset this, but let's not look at it this way. So anyway, we got Alicia Webb here. She's a manager. We'll get to her when we get there. Brian Adams, who of course who's working for us for a while. I believe he was in Chronic. Yeah, we ended up releasing him. He's hired because he's got a little bit of popularity behind him, and he's a good first kind of guy to help get some other people over and be a face for them. He's got a manager, Tylene Buck. There she is. She's a diva, probably just kind of a whole sex thing. I don't know. What is Brian Adams' gimmick? He's a badass, so maybe like a biker kind of thing. Buff Bagwell's there again. Another guy, popularity, kind of, capitalizing off of that. And he's got China, which there you have it. China's there as well. Let's just go through the roster. Let's not even really focus on the managers because I don't want to get too far into it. If you see a female, assume that they're a manager. Alicia Webb, Brian Adams being managed by Tylene Buck with a badass gimmick. Buff Bagwell in the main event scene. By the way, Brian Adams is a main eventer as well. Buff Bagwell, main eventer. He's a heel. Brian Adams was a face. It's the last time I'm going back to Brian Adams. Bagwell's a heel. Got an egomaniac gimmick managed by China. Then there's Chastity. She's got a seductress gimmick. China, she's got the, equality fighter gimmick. I just think, maybe they can have a dominatrix kind of thing. Chris Candido, obviously managed by Tammy Sitch. He's got the old school heel gimmick, and he is a mid-carder. Chris Hero, mid-carder, face, and he's got a thrill seeker gimmick. Christopher Daniels, who is a mid-carder, has a preacher gimmick and is managed by Chastity. It's funny. Chastity. She's with the preacher. I thought it's funny. CM Punk, he's a face in the mid-card division with a Punk gimmick managed by Veronica Kane. Drew Galloway is in the opener division. 16 years old. Jesus, wow, he's young. He's got an arrogant heel, and he's managed by Francine. Francine, who is the way I would book her, and I may or may not book this company. We'll see. I'll get to that in a minute here. I'd say she's kind of gotten a cougar gimmick. Maybe she's taken some of the young guns under her wing and kind of using them as her. You get where I'm kind of going with this. They're her cubs pretty much. Anyway, there's Francine. Jay Lethal, lower mid-carder, got a show stealer gimmick. Jeff Jarrett is the main eventer, the face of our company, the owner of the company. Blue Collar, managed by Rena. I think you guys might know who Rena is. If you don't, you will see. Jerry Jarrett, he's just there. Julio De Niro, mid-carder, heel, cocky youth. Juventud Guerrera, he's an upper mid-carder heel with a punk gimmick. Keiji Sakota, mid-carder, face with the badass gimmick. Kenny Omega, enhancement talent, face with a fun babyface gimmick. Kid Cash, upper mid-carder, heel, cocky youth, managed by Terry Runnels. Conan, main eventer, face, gangsta. Michael Modest, mid-carder, heel with old school heel gimmick. Madaja, she's a manager with a seductress. Naroki Doi, an opener heel, badass. Nelson Knight, monster heel in the upper mid-card, managed by Madaja. Norman Smiley, upper mid-card heel, fabulous heel gimmick. Petey Williams, lower mid-card heel with a city slicker gimmick. Rena, a.k.a. Sable, she's a beach babe gimmick. Sabu, here's might be a shock for some of you guys. Sabu, of course, he's a freelancer, so he would not re-sign with the WWE. TNA / Impact, whatever you want to call him, take full advantage of this, and he'll be coming. Big pickup for Impact. Of course, he's not rated yet, but he does have a psycho gimmick. And let's be honest, I mean, if I'm booking this, which, again, we may or may not be doing, let's go ahead. I mean, it says he should be a heel, but I think he should be a face. Just saying. Scotty Mack, lower mid-card face with a clean-cut gimmick managed by Alicia Webb. Shane Douglas, a main event heel with the franchise player gimmick. Super Crazy, upper mid-card face with a thrill seeker gimmick. Tammy Sitch, she's sunny. Terry Runnels, heel manager. Tylene Buck, face manager. And Veronica Kane, who apparently is not a manager but an authority figure. So there's kind of the roster of TNA at the moment. And here's my proposition for you. I've kind of mentioned it many times already. I've already kind of taken control over the company. So for those of you who are actually watching this, should I book TNA? Should I maybe make a new series where I drop WWE and just book TNA? Should I just book TNA in this series as well and have it kind of like both WWE versus TNA with my own booking style? Like book them both and make TNA like another show that I kind of book that's not really a part of WWE, but it still is on the channel. Or like I said, do I drop WWE and not drop WWE like in like we're done with InVasion, but do I like pretty much create a new save? I don't know if that's possible actually, but if it is possible, do I like split the saves here? I think it is actually. I can do a copy and then I'll split the saves, drop WWE on one and play as TNA and make a new save as that, and then continue on with, you know, the InVasion series on a different save. Well, what do you guys think? Should we even bother? Do we book TNA? Do we book it as its own separate series, or do we book it alongside the InVasion series? I leave that up to you guys. I have 6 days into Battle Song. It's now or never pretty much to book the damn show. So you guys let me know what the plan is with TNA, and I'll either let them go and let them do whatever they want to do, or I'll book them, and we'll see. We can book them, like I said, alongside WWE. That way both of them are under my control, or we can book them separately and see what the computer does with WWE now that I'm no longer in control there. Maybe I got fired by Vince McMahon and now I'm helping the upstart TNA company. Or, you know, and then also when we play as WWE, we can also see what Jeff Jarrett and company are wanting to do. So there's that suggestion there. Anyway, though, that'll be the end of the InVasion portion of this video. Again, hopefully this video's not going on like 4 hours or whatever, but you guys can jump around if you want. Let's go ahead and look at the Global, because I spelled global, and get the recap of the end of the year. So yeah, it was 1971. We are now in the year of 1972. We're still in the 70s, baby. And let's go ahead and look at our awards. Obviously, the Wrestler of the Year was Mil Mascaras. He's this year's recipient of the award. First time that the Mexican wrestler has won or captured the coveted award. In fact, I don't even need to look at this. Let's go ahead and look at this. So, of course, last year was John Cortez. This year, Mil Mascaras. bit appropriate. So let's look at the tag teams of the years. So in 1970, we had Rip Hawk and Swede Hansen. I can't click on them. This year is Nick Bockwinkel, and Ray Stevens. The Young Wrestler of the Year, of course, they have to be under the age of 24 years old. Last year was Dick Murdoch. This year in 1971, we got Johnny Kincaid. Moving on to the Veteran Wrestler of the Year, have to be over the age of 42 years old. For the first time in the wrestling, I don't know, the first time in the end of the year award history, we have a two-time winner, as Vern Gagne won last year in 1970, and he is this year's winner of the Veteran Wrestler of the Year award. The Female Wrestler of the Year last year was Sherry Lee. This year is Ethel Johnson. Independent Wrestler of the Year, for the second year in a row, we don't have a winner. Okay. Company of the Year last year was the AWA, American Wrestling Association. This year is the JCP. Doesn't surprise me. They are the number... No, they're not the number one. They're number 3. Interesting. Jim Crockett Promotions. Okay. The Most Improved Company of the Year last year was the JWA, Japan Pro Wrestling Alliance. This year, the WWA, the World Wrestling Association. Match of the Year last year was John Cortez going over Mike Marino at an MPB house show, which got a 96 rating. This year, Mil Mascaras going over Jackie Fargo at the JCP End of the Month show with a 99 rating. Yeah, it's pretty much as good as you can get. All right, 1970, the card of the year was the AWA End of the Month show. I wish they would tell you what month it was, which got a 79 rating. And here in 1971, the JCP End of the Month show got a 90 rating. Big jump up from that one. Manager of the Year, last year in 1970, we had Bobby Davis. This year, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. Okay, I'll try. Beauregard. I think that might be how it actually might have been pronounced. And here we go for the second time in the end of the award record book. A two-time winner from 1970 here to 1970. The announcer of the year, Bob Cald. Here's the color commentator of the year. Last year was Lord Athol Layton. This year, Don Meredith. And the referee of the year for the third time in the end of the year award history books. We have a two-time winner from 1970 to 1971. The referee of the year, Dick Warhol. I think it's Dick Warhol. All right. Is that all we can look at? Yeah, looks like it. So I'm going to go ahead and take a drink of our sponsor of the video, who's not our sponsor, but if they are interested in being the sponsor, Pepsi, hit me up. Mountain Dew. Do the do. Oh, yeah. I don't even really like Mountain Dew. Okay. So let's go ahead and look at our company first. And kind of look at the downfall that we've had. Because, well, even though I like to do these big shows at the end of the year, I might have to stop doing them. Because as you can see here, we now have $6,000. Yep. Not good. Anyway, we look at our finances. Well, I can't look at January, but from February we had $21,000, and since then we have now dropped down to $6,000. So this year is going to be a lot of, let's just say, money saving. We are going to try to save as much money as we can this year, because where the hell is it? Oh, it's this one. As we all are well aware, for a while there, both the economy and the wrestling industry were on a downfall. Luckily, the economy is rising. We are now at a 40 D-, so the money's there. The interest, not so much. It's at a 20, what is that, a 28? Yeah, 28, and it's still falling. Hopefully it'll rise. I mean, Canada's killing it right now with the wrestling industry. Not so much with the economy, but they're killing it. Mexico's rising in both, so good for them. The British Isles is suffering a lot what we are right now. Japan as well. Well, actually, they're worse. Both theirs are following. At least our economy's rising. Europe's doing good despite not having any active promotions over there. I mean, the economy's not doing good, but that's fine. And Australia is, the economy's rising and wrestling industry's falling, but at least they're at a 60C, and the one active company there right now is probably benefiting, doing really well for themselves, I would imagine. So let's go ahead and look at our company, shall we? We did have a new champion, the first new champion. Well, I guess not the first new champion, but the first title change in IWC company. Jody Arnold was the IWC regional champion, the first ever champion for a full year. Him and his uncle really, kind of. Well, I wouldn't say him and his uncle. It was more his uncle, Don Arnold, who really kind of tipped the odds in Jody's favor all the time. Even Jody may seem a little ignorant to the fact and are just unaware in general. But it finally caught up to him after his fifth defense. Gone on to number 6, Dino Bravo upsets them and becomes the new IWC regional champion. And we'll see where that goes from there. We have seen some, unfortunate departures from the IWC. And let's go ahead and look at the alumni. I don't really remember who Frank Gifford was. Oh, he was the one-time announcer that we brought in that I was like, you're too much. Same thing with this guy. I was like, we'll have this. The biggest loss was Giles Poison, who is Alex the Butcher. I mean, we can always bring him back. In fact, we could bring him back today if we wanted to, but we just don't have the money for him. He wants $1,000 per appearance. And it'd be great. He was a great wrestler. He's stolen away from us from the JWA just to be released like everybody else, which sucks. And it's a shame, but Alex the Butcher no longer with us. Maybe one day in the future. Same thing with the Polish powerhouse, Ivan Putski. He wasn't with us long. He wanted a pay raise. I wasn't willing to give him the pay raise because, well, honestly, I just can't afford it. And he decided, well, I'm just not going to work here anymore. And I said, well, that's fine. And we went our separate ways. He doesn't want to come back to us right now, but it's not impossible. So who knows? Maybe one day Ivan Putski will return, but that is not today. What the hell just happened? Okay. So let's look at the roster real quick. Well, we'll start from the beginning. We've got Rockin' Robert Fuller, one half of the Sexy Studs with superstar Jimmy Snuka. He is let's go ahead and click on him here, actually. Look at his popularity, see if it's actually gone up this year. Not the most popular guy, but then again, you won't see a lot of popularity here in the IWC. Let's focus on the Southwest because that is specifically us. So currently, he is at a 17 F+ rating. And starting from January 71, he was at a minus. No, that's the tri-state. Where's South? He was at a F6 rating, so we have definitely gotten his popularity up there. And I'd imagine that the future is bright for the young Robert Fuller here. At only 20 years old, he's loyal to the IWC, so he most likely will never leave our company. And it's great because he's actually got strong in-ring performance, strong physical abilities. He's not the most entertaining guy, but honestly, at this time, we're not going to see a whole lot. But he's got a lot of strong things down here. Strong babyface, strong heel, cocky, comedy, weasel. Rockin' Robert Fuller's got a lot of upside, in my opinion. So it's great that he's not only loyal to us, but he's also a road agent, which we are going to need in the future for sure. And he's also a manager, which will help out in the future as well, because we all... Now, I may not have remembered who Robert Fuller was when I first started this series, but I am well aware of who Robert Fuller is now. Anyway, he is now in the upper mid-card division. Good for him. Let's move on to his tag team partner, who I would honestly say he is now outshined in a way. It is superstar Jimmy Snuka. He's probably got the most upside in our company, but unfortunately he doesn't fit the gimmick that I currently got for him, and he's not available a lot because he works for quite a lot of companies. In fact, well, not anymore. He actually works for EMLL, but I think EMLL has him booked all the time. Maybe not. Maybe he got released from whatever company he was working for. He was released by the JWA. Maybe that's who was making him work all the time. But he was working all the time, and I was just never really able to get him on the shows. But anyway, let's go ahead and look at his popularity. He's probably one of the more popular guys, only really in Mexico, it would seem, actually. Here in the Southwest, he is also at a 17 F+, like his tag team partner. He started out at an 11 here in the beginning of the year, and he's moved up to the 17, so he's definitely on the rise as well, despite his shitty gimmick. One thing I didn't do for Robert Fuller that we'll go on and do in a second, his, okay, well, he's not going to have a best match with us, so never mind. I was going to say, let's go ahead and look at what his best match with us was. Well, his best match of last year, let's go ahead and I guess we'll just, you know what, never mind. I'm not going to. It's not with our company, so I don't care. Moving on, we have Alexis Smirnoff, who is a upper mid-card heel. A lot of promise there, just like Jimmy Snuka, who I didn't go over here. As you can see with Snuka, real quick before we go on to Smirnoff, he's got a lot of strongs. In-ring performance, very strong physical, strong entertainment, strong babyface, cool. So he's got a lot of promise as well. Now moving on to Smirnoff, who's an upper mid-carder, heel. He's got a lot of strongs as well. He's strong in the ring, performance, physical, entertainment. He's going to be a big player for us to come in the future as well. Let's go ahead and look at the former member of Russian Roulette with Alex the Butcher before the Butcher was taken away from us. So let's look at his popularity. In the Southwest, he's also at a 17, so he's about the same as both the members of the Sexy Studs. He might have gone down. Yeah, it looks like it. He peaked at an 18 here in the Southwest. He was at a 17, so he hasn't really moved at all. And that might be because of us, our limit he's reached in our company. But a 17 F+, and he was at an 18 at one point. He just recently dropped probably after that loss he suffered against Baron von Heisinger and Karl von Schatz. Well, either way, good for him. Moving on to, speaking, Baron von Heisinger, who's got a big fan on the channel here. He is a main eventer here in our company. He's not the most promising guy in the world with not a lot of whole strongs. Mostly an average wrestler here, as you can see with average Rumble. But we know a little bit more about him than we do about the previous three, who we only have a few facts on. Heisinger here, we know a little bit about him, as we at least know he's, very weak at high flying for one. He's average at Rumble and technical. Strong in his performance, so that's good. I disagree. He's apparently not the most entertaining guy, but I disagree. I think he is. He is a strong heel, though. Very strong heel, in fact. He's got the good cocky, so he's got some benefit. But like I said, he's definitely not the most promising guy, especially with him at being 32 years old right now as well. But who knows? You never can count him out. In fact, he's got a promising tag team as Evil Incarnate with Karl von Schatz. We'll talk about him a little bit later. Heisinger here. By the way, golly, I feel like this video is going to be stupid-ass long. I apologize. But you can always skip. Oops. Sorry. How long have we been recording? It'll tell me. Okay, it's not, I thought we were like almost like an hour 30 in here, but it's not going on too long. So we won't be going super long, because once I get through the roster, I think we'll go a lot quicker here. Anyway, though, Heisinger, he's currently at an 18 E- here in the Southwest. In fact, he's the most popular star we've seen so far. Started out at an 11 F here in the beginning of January of 1971. Now back up to an 18. In fact, at one point he did drop down to a 16 while he was building himself up, but he has helped. Probably that victory over Smirnoff helped him a little bit as well, but Baron von Heisinger, a bit on the rise here, now in the main event scene as well. Bob Clay is our referee. It does not matter, but Bob Roop, main eventer here, one of the stars of the IWC. In fact, I'd say he's probably the best wrestler on our roster at the moment. Even though it may not say it, he is strong at technical, which I believe is one of the main focuses of our company, so that is probably why he comes across as a star. Strong in his performance as well, very strong physical, so in fact he does have some good stuff for the current era that we're in. And he can play both a heel and a babyface, so that's good to look forward to. Bob Roop's going to be a guy for us in the future. He's not the youngest guy, but he's definitely not the oldest either. And I believe his gimmick is like legendary for him. Like it's a good gimmick. Like it's the best gimmick he can get pretty much. So Bob Roop is doing great things for us. In fact, he's the most popular guy we've seen yet. I know we just saw that about or said that about Baron von Heisinger, but Bob Roop outshines Baron von Heisinger by a good couple of points here. He's a 23 E- rating here in the Southwest region. He started off at a 14 F+ and has jumped up to the E- region pretty quickly here, and it has just kept rising. Was stuck at the 19 for a bit, then got to 21, 22 at the end of the year, and then probably that big victory in the Gladiator match over Ripper Savage got him to this 23. And who knows, he could be a championship contender and possibly a future IWC regional champion, if you ask me. Then there's Cousin Slim. Cousin Slim here is a mid-carder face. Not the best wrestler. In fact, he may be one of our weakest wrestlers on the roster. Below average rumble, weak technical, abysmal high flying. In fact, the only thing he's really good at is his performance and his physical. Everything else is practically weak. He does play a pretty strong babyface, and he's good at the heel as well. So at least he's good. He's a good character. At least we can say that about him. Let's go ahead and look at his popularity, starting off with a what is it? A 17 F+ here in the Southwest region, and looks like he's actually dropped in popularity since. Starting off with that 17 F+, he's gone down to a 15 F+, then down to a 14, finally rising back to a 16 F+, probably after that victory over the King, Jim Alexi, but still dropping down. That's a shame. Curtis Candy, he's one of the people who made his debut, and despite looking like he's 60, he's 19 years old, believe it or not, loyal to the IWC. Just want to make sure no one else was. So it's good to have someone as young as Curtis Candy be loyal to our company. He's not the best wrestler in the world, very average at everything. He's a strong heel, and he plays a good, weird, strong gimmick, which is why he plays the clown. But besides from that, not a whole lot of promise, I'd say, right now. In fact, Curtis Candy is one of the wrestlers who was, I guess, created in the game, which I'm not too happy about. I don't like how the game is creating wrestlers and reusing other wrestlers' pictures. But because I already had Curtis Candy under contract, I decided we'll go ahead and keep him. But I don't like how the game's doing that. I'm pretty sure I turned it off, but apparently it's not going to let me. I should have been looking at their skills, by the way. I will go ahead and look at their skills real quick on a lot of these other guys, and I'll try to get through this a little quicker on a lot of these guys. Anyway, though, Candy is currently at a 11 here in the Southwest region. He was at a 0, so of course he's gone up from then, going from a 0 to a 7 to a 9 and now 11. Real quick, let's go over his skills and try to get to the other guys as well. He won't go too fast because he's probably just, he hasn't gone up at everything. He's average at everything there. Real quick, let's look at Rockin' Robert Fuller here. Go ahead and look at his skills, see if they've done anything. No. So the only thing that's gone up is his in-ring skills. He was average all the way up until August of 71, and then September of 71 it changed around, and he's now considered strong in the in-ring. Aside from that, nothing else seems to have... Oh, wait. In-ring... No, his performance as well. From same thing with his in-ring performance up until September of 71. He was average, and then he turned it around to strong. Aside from that, it looks like that's it for Rockin' Robert Fuller. But either way, he's improved. Good year for Robert Fuller. Jimmy Snuka. Let's look. I doubt much has gone up for him because he's always been strong. His respect apparently has gone up. He went from weak, and then of March of 71, he is now an average, and his reputation went from average to strong in May of 71. So good to know that Jimmy Snuka is making a good name for himself around the wrestling biz. Smirnoff, again, might not be... Okay, he's seen some. He was already a strong competitor, but at least his entertainment has gone up. He was average all the way up until August of 71, and now he's considered strong in the category. I should probably look at the other ones real quick as well before I just assume that was it. There it is. Reputation went up as well. He was average, and then of May of 71, he is now considered strong. Got a strong rep. Von Heisinger. Let's go ahead and track his progress. Nothing in the in-ring, which is what you would want. And looks like the only thing that improved for Von Heisinger was his respect. He's now considered average as of May of 71. Bob Roop. Let's look. No improvements really anywhere except for his reputation, which as of January of 72 now is very strong. Very strong reputation for Bob Roop. I would not be surprised if Bob Roop ever gets signed. Cousin Slim. No improvements in the in-ring, which is unfortunate. His performance has gone up. As of September of 71, he's now considered above average. And that's about it for Cousin Slim here. Curtis Candy was the last person I believe we looked at, so never mind. So moving on to our current IWC Regional Champion, Dino Bravo, who is a main event face with a biker gimmick. He's got a lot of strong stuff here. Strong in ring, performance, physical. Only average at entertainment, but that's fine. Babyface, he's strong. Heel, he's strong. He can do it all. And he's young as well. Let's go ahead and look at his skills first. So as of March of 71, he went from average to strong in ring. And looks like besides that, in November of 71, he was considered average in his respect. Moving on to his popularity. He's now at a 22 E- here in January of 72. And starting in January of 71, he was at a 16 F+. So he's definitely jumped up, and that title victory has probably definitely helped him. In fact, I wonder if that is his first championship. It is! We are the first person to trust him. I just realized that they have the Power 500. I'll go ahead and I'll look at that afterwards because that'll probably be quicker. We then have Don Anderson, who is also in his rookie year here, 24 years old, loyal to our company. He's got the Avenger gimmick running as a face. He's got strong physical abilities. He's average in the ring, an average entertainer, but he can play a pretty strong babyface and heel. So all together, Don Anderson is very promising. Let's go ahead and track his progress here. See if he's made any improvements throughout the year. He has not. It is his rookie year, though, so that is to be expected. Popularity, on the other hand, is bound to have gone up, considering he was a nobody in March of 71, making his debut. Since then, he is now a 13 F+ here in the Southwest region. Moving on to Don Arnold. No, we're not moving on to Don Arnold. He is a manager. Never mind. Moving on to Don Savage, the veteran of our roster. 35 years old, flabby light heavyweight. Not sure why I read that. All-American face in the main event scene. He's the only one we know actual numbers on. So I'm not going to go ahead and read all of that, to be very honest with you guys. I'm just going to go ahead and skip all that. And we're going to go and look at his skills and see if he's made any improvements throughout the year. So let's see. His Pro Res has gone up. It went from an F to an F+ as of December of 71. His mat wrestling also went up. He went from a D to a D+ in January of 72. Submissions went from an E- to an E of December of 71. Anything else? His respect has also gone up. He is now a C- as of August of 71. So that's about it for Don Savage there. His popularity is now at a 20 E-. I can guarantee his has gone down because he's kind of served as the veteran to put over the young guys. But he started out with a 23 E- rating here in the beginning of the year. And at the end of the year, even though it has gone down, it's considerably gone up. He was at one point at a 16 F+ actually at one point, his lowest in August of 71. He's now brought it back up to a 20 E- rating in the popularity, so good for him. Moving on to Frank Dalton, who hasn't seen a lot of action here because he's one of those stars that usually works the days that I run shows. He does have a lot of strong stuff, though. In-ring, performance, physical, all strong. Plays a very strong heel. Altogether, Frank Dalton could be a pretty big deal here in IWC if we can use him more often than we don't get to. Looking at his skills, He has gone from average to strong as of June of 71 in his performance. And his respect has gone from weak to average as of September of 71. His popularity is currently rated at a 16 F+. That definitely, I think, has gone down. No, actually, it's gone up. He was an F+ 15 starting in the beginning of the year, and now has gone up to at least 1 point in popularity, but a point's a point. So good for Frank Dalton. Moving, oh boy, get out of here. Moving on to, what the hell just happened? Moving on to George Hutz, who is kind of our resident, I don't want to say jobber, I would say resident measuring stick. He's got the pretty much generic old school face gimmick. He's an upper mid-carder. Doesn't really excel, oh, never mind. I wasn't going to say he doesn't excel at too much, but he is strong at his performance and very strong in physical, along with being a babyface. His we're going to start with his skills, actually. Looking at his skills here, hasn't really made much improvement except for his respect, which went up from weak to average as of October of 71. And his popularity, I suspect, may have gone down. Nope, I'm wrong again. He was an F+ 12 at the beginning of the year. And as of right now, he's now a 17 F+. You must be a guy I just recently hired, so we're not going to look at you. This is Gary Morrow. I just recently hired him. He's in his rookie year. And he's probably cheap. That's the only reason I can think I hired him. Guillotine Gordon, cheap and promising. Guillotine Gordon, one of the older wrestlers on our roster as well. A 7-year pro, but we don't know much facts about him. He's an upper mid-carder with a gangsta gimmick. Looking at his skills here. Very average in general. Has he made any improvements? No improvements from Guillotine Gordon. None whatsoever. Oh, we didn't look at his popularity. Has his pop at least gone up? Yep, he was at 13 F+ at the beginning of the year, and he's now at a 17 F+. So he's making his way up the roster, doing what he can do. Jerry Monty, one of our main eventers, probably one of the better wrestlers, if not the best wrestler. I would say it's a toss-up between him and Bob Roop. Roop is usually injured, so it's hard to gauge where he's at. Monty's got a lot of good stuff, and we can go ahead and look at his skills here. As you can see there, he's got a lot of strong, pretty much all around a lot of things. His rumble is strong. He went up to above average in technical. He was average in the beginning of the year, and is now considered above average. In fact, his high flying has even gone up. He was abysmal as of February of 71, but as of March of 71, he's now at least very weak. His performance game is very strong. Overall, he's strong. Camera strong. Entertainment, he's weak, which is unfortunate. He's got about, wow, he went up twice in his respect. He was below average in respect of the beginning of the year, went up to average as of February of 71, and then as of June of 71, he was above average in respect. So turning that respect game around strong. Speaking of strong, his reputation, very strong as of December of 71. Jerry Monty, he's a promising individual. I wouldn't be surprised if he ever got snatched up. Unfortunately, he is injured right now with a lateral epicondylitis. I don't know when that happened. Recently, maybe. Yep. Out. Wow. No way. He's out? Oh, that's why he wasn't there. Wait, no, he can work. He's working through. It said he was out. He's not out. I just probably didn't let him work because he was injured. Moving on, we've got Jim Alexi, the self-proclaimed king of the IWC. He is also loyal to the company. Good to know. He's a ladies' man in the mid-card division. Pretty average wrestler, none too special whatso all around. Let's go ahead and track his progress, see if he's at least made some jumps. So in-ring performance, physical, entertainment, all average, and not even a jump up in anything down there. No improvements from the king. His popularity has had to improve at least. Well, it has. He went from a F8 in the beginning of the year and now considered a 15 F+ as of January of 72, so good for Jim Alexi. We then have our former IWC regional champion, Jody Arnold, who's 23 years old. Also loyal to the company, great to know. Let's go ahead and look at the former champion here. Not the best wrestler either. He's pretty average considering. Let's see if he's made any improvements. He's average in the ring, average performance. He's got strong physical, which is good, but he's average entertainment, and no improvements in the respect reputation area. His popularity has got to be pretty decent, I would assume, though. He was reigning as champion for a long period of time. So starting at the beginning of the year, in fact, ooh, golly, it went down pretty hard. That championship loss really took an effect on Jody. He's kind of gone down throughout the year. I'd kind of blame his uncle for that, if you want me to be honest. I mean, the fans have slowly been turning on him. 28 solid E rating as to start the year. He's gone down to a 25 at one point, and just recently, after dropping the IWC Regional Championship, a 22 E- rating for Jody Arnold. Oy vey. All right, well, let's go ahead and take a look at Karl von Schatz, who is one half of Evil Incarnate. Not the most talented wrestler on the roster. He's very average as well. Average in ring, performance, physical, entertainment. At least he made a jump up in his respect. I mean, you wouldn't expect it from a guy who's very evil like Karl von Schatz is, but it went from weak to average as of September 71, so that's good to know. His popularity, he's definitely more popular outside of America, that's for sure. Here in the Southwest, though, he started out with a whole 2 F-, and now he's considered a 17 F+. Karl von Schatz is definitely taking advantage of every shot here in the IWC. Here comes another new recruit to the IWC, Lawrence Barnes. Not going to look at him. He's another rookie, most likely cheap. Let's take a look at our loose cannon, the resident loose cannon of the IWC, Les Roberts, 26 years old. Let's go ahead and look at his skills. Again, practically an average wrestler here. In-ring performance. His physical is strong. Entertainment is average, though, and no improvements in the others region here. Popularity, I would assume, has gone up, but we'll see. Yeah, definitely. He was a 0 in the beginning of the year, kind of around that 4 region, then the 10 region, and he's been going up since, and is now at a 17 F+. So Les Roberts is on the up. There's Miss Sherry. No real reason to look at Miss Sherry, to be honest. She doesn't have a big role. Randy Tyler, a spoiled brat upper mid-carder who, as of now, apparently is formed a tag team with Guillotine Gordon. It doesn't seem like they have a lot of chemistry, though, as we clearly saw. Randy Tyler's pretty promising, though, as you can see here. His in-ring went up strong. He was considered average in the beginning of the year, but as of May of 71, he is now a strong in-ring wrestler. His performance was always strong, physical always strong, entertainment is average, and his respect went up from weak to average as of January of 72. Reputation, average to strong as of December of 71. So Randy Tyler definitely on the up as well. And then there's everybody's favorite wrestler, not Miss Sherry, but the person Miss Sherry manages, the Savage Slaughterhouse himself, Ripper Savage. Ripper Savage is a main event heel with an Adonis gimmick here. Definitely more look than skill. Savage is not the best wrestler out there, but he has the look of a wrestler. And he's definitely our most entertaining superstar, but we'll get to that when we get to that. He's average in the ring. He's an average rumbler. Technical, he's weak at, and his high flying is very weak. His performance is strong. In fact, he was considered average at the beginning of the year, but as of May of 71, he is now considered strong. Physical was always strong. His entertainment was above average for a little while there until of December of 71, which now he is considered strong. Of course, he's got excellent camera, which definitely helps. You wouldn't be surprised if he ever gets snatched up just because he's got excellent camera. His respect definitely isn't the strongest out there, but he did go up from weak to below average as of November of 71, and his reputation is in fact very strong, definitely going up from strong to very strong in May of 71. So Ripper is considered, I believe, our #1 wrestler in the company. But we'll go ahead and look at the creative meeting in a moment there. Popularity-wise, he is at a 19 E- as of right now. He has gone down quite a lot. In fact, he was at one point a 25 solid E rating here in the company, and even got up to a 26 popularity. But I'm assuming, losing to Bob Roop, that clown, definitely didn't help him, and now finds himself in the 19 E- region. But, Ripper will bounce back. He always does. He always does. Roger Brown, unfortunately, I'm not going to look at Roger Brown. He was early on, a superstar early on in our company. In fact, I thought he was a favorite to be the first ever IWC regional champion. Unfortunately, he did get injured, and since that injury, he returned once. I think we'll go ahead and let's look at his match history. He didn't have a match at all. His last match was against Freddie Blassie, which saw him get injured. In fact, we can go ahead and look at the news archive. He had a C4 cervical spine cord rupture, and despite coming back from injury, he didn't last too long after that because, he retired. So it's a shame. It's a shame, but he retired from in-ring activity, and I'm just kind of waiting his contract out at this moment. The last superstar we will be looking at, because Victor Jovica is a rookie wrestler who will be making his debut in the new year. No point in looking at him as of right now. Is a relative newcomer to the IWC, but he's already made a big impact. The Marvelous Morocco. 22 years old, young. He's a mid-card snob in the heel division, and he's even a road agent, surprisingly. Let's go ahead and look at his skills here. He's considered pretty strong, in fact. In ring, he was average at the beginning of the year, up until December of 71, in fact, until he became considered strong. Same thing with his performance up until December of 71. He was average until now he is strong. Physical, he was always strong. Entertainment, he's about average, and no improvement in the other region. But his popularity, I would assume there is definitely some improvement there. He started out with a 0 popularity in the Southwest region, and since then has gone up to an 11. So Marvelous Morocco, in my opinion, is a guy to keep your eye on. He is a personal favorite of mine to book, so I think he'll definitely have a future. So here's the creative meeting. Our franchise players are as follows. Ripper Savage, the current IWC regional champion Dino Bravo, Bob Roop, Jody Arnold, and Jerry Monty. The next big thing is just one person, and that is Jimmy Snuka. Hot prospects are Curtis Candy, Don Anderson, Lawrence Barnes, who's the newcomer here to the IWC, Jim Alexi, and Les Roberts. Talk to talk, we have Miss Sherry. Showstoppers are Jimmy Snuka, Dino Bravo, Alexis Smirnoff, Ripper Savage, and the Marvelous Morocco. Our ring generals are Alexis Smirnoff, Superstar Jimmy Snuka, Bob Roop, Don Savage, and Jerry Monty. Currently, Dino Bravo, Jody Arnold, Carl Von Schatz, Bob Roop, and Alexis Smirnoff are hot, while Don Savage, Frank Dalton, George Holtz, Jim Alexi, and Cousin Slim are not. No superstars are on a time decline, and our current hidden gems at this moment are Austin Idol. I wonder who that is. Herman Ortiz, Simon Potomac? I don't know how to pronounce that. Bryant Parker and Jason Alicio. How much is Austin Idol? Is he's probably on the more expensive side. $400 per show. It's not too bad, actually. Can I get you for $350? Travel is not covered. $360? I think we can work that out, Austin Idol. We might have Austin Idol. Well, that could be something to look forward to. Anyway, before we go ahead and end this off, even though we've been running for now well over an hour, I'm going to go ahead and look at the big companies, mostly the top 3, or at least the ones that I recognize. We're definitely going to be looking at Jimmy Crockett Promotions because, well, they won the Company of the Year for one, and I honestly think, in my opinion, they are number 1. But I'm curious to see who is number 1. Is it still the WWF? Because I would assume they've dropped down by now, because they definitely haven't been like, oh yeah, they're 4th. So we're going to be looking at them. Is it the Mexico company that's number 1? Or is it Japan? It's got to be one of them. Japan is number 1. Wow. So Mexico is number 2. Yep. EMLL is number 2, and JAPW is number 1. Okay. Well, we're not going to look at them because I'll be honest, I don't have a vast knowledge of both Mexican or Japanese wrestling, especially old school. So we're going to just look at Jimmy Crockett Promotions and the WWF. Let's go ahead and look at the WWF, which is better known as the WWE nowadays. Okay. Anyway, so Vincent J. McMahon, the father of Vince McMahon, is still the owner of the company, and Arnold Skaaland is the booker. I don't know if he always was the booker, but I'm assuming he was. So I'm wondering if they dropped down and we're going to go company news. So the only real thing of company news here is that PCAC, okay, I can't look at them, and the WWF started a working relationship, which I went over in a previous video. But I want to see if they're like, what would I be looking for? I don't even know what I'd be looking for. I guess not. I wanted to see if like I could tell if they went down, but I'm pretty sure it would be here. So I don't think they went down in popularity, but we'll see. Anyway, let's go ahead and look at the roster real quick. I'm going to go from their enhancement. Actually, let's look at their women's division because they do have a women's division. So currently the women's division is filled with Betty Nicoli, Ethel Johnson, Gina Tone, Kathy Starr, Kay Noble, Marva Scott, Paula Kay, Rita Boucher, and the Fabulous Moolah. We then move on to the enhancement talents of the WWE, which are as follows. Eric the Red. That's it. Just Eric the Red. Our openers, or their openers, are Jim Grabmeyer and Miguel Feliciano. Don't ask me. Lower mid-carders are Captain Lou Albano, Mario Milano, and Pete Sanchez, who's got a colored picture. Huh, that's the first colored picture I've seen in the game so far. Mid-carders are Batman, the Batman, Danny Littlebear, Dominic DeNucci, John L. Sullivan, Johnny DeFazio, and Karl Kovacs. The upper mid-carders are Angelo Mosca, George Steele, Toru Tanaka, and Victor Rivera. The main event talents are Ernie Ladd, Gorilla Monsoon, Ivan Koloff, and Killer Kowalski. So let's go ahead and take a look at their teams. They have the team of DeNucci and Jumpin' Johnny, DeNucci and Victor Rivera, Jamaican Kid and Cowboy Bradley, Batman and Victor Rivera, Team Million, which is Rita Boucher and Ethel Johnson, the Advantagers, Gina Tone and Kay Noble, and the Destructors, Betty Nicoli and Kathy Starr. And now we'll go ahead and look at their championship, starting with the Women's World Champion, currently held by Gina Tone. And looks like the way it went this year was the Fabulous Moolah started the year off as champion. In fact, let's go ahead and look at the fences. We'll look at 1971 and go from there. I know this is going to run a little longer, but again, those of you who want to watch it will watch it. Those of you who don't, you know you won't. So we started off with the Fabulous Moolah retaining the championship over Rita Boucher before Kathy Starr went on to defeat her for the championship in the third week of January of 1971. She then retained the championship over the likes of the Fabulous Moolah, Kay Noble, Gina Tone, Paula Kay, and looks like Marva Scott, Ethel Johnson. In fact, she had quite a reign. Let's look. We're just going to count how many times she defended it from the Fabulous Moolah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, no, she lost the title to Paula Kay. So she defended it 7 times before losing it to Paula Kay. And then Paula went on to defend it against the likes of Marva Scott, Kathy Starr, Ethel Johnson, Betty Nicoli, before losing it to Ethel Johnson. And Ethel Johnson, the current... Or no, she's not. Excuse me. I jumped the gun. Ethel Johnson held the championship up until July of 1971 before dropping it to the Fabulous Moolah. Excuse me. Yeah, I was still right. After she beat her... No, wait. She beat her by countout. So, who... No, Kay Noble beat her for the championship. That's who beat her. Okay. DQ, then countout. Interesting. So Kay Noble became champion. Is that for the second time? I think she was the one that... No. And then it went to Rita Bouchard. And now it is Gina Tone. Okay, I'm not going to go do that again, that's for sure. We'll just look at it this way. So Fabulous Moolah, Kathy Starr, Paula Kai, Ethel Johnson, Kay Noble, and Rita Bouchard, and now Gina Tone. Definitely more people holding the championship in this save than the actual championship in the real life. The Women's Tag Team Championship is actually getting some love as well. Kind of like nowadays, the Women's Champion is also the Tag Team Champion, like Bayley is. This time it is Gina Tondo and Kay Noble. We started off the year with Marva Scott and Paula Kay as champions. They held the titles up until February before the Fabulous Moolah and Rita Bouchard dethroned them. Then it went back to Marva Scott, this time with Kay Noble though. Paula Kai then teamed up with the Fabulous Moolah. A little bit of a betrayal, I guess, on her part, as she beat Marva Scott, her former partner, to win the titles with Moolah. And then Moolah and company lost the titles to Kathy Starr and Betty Nicoli before the current champions, Gina Tone and Kay Noble, reigned supreme. We then have the International Tag Team Championships. We started off the year with Karl Kovacs and Ivan Koloff as champions until they lost it in March of 1971 to Johnny DeFazio and Dominic DeNucci, who then lost it to John L. Sullivan and Karl Kovacs, who didn't even manage one defense of the championships before going on to lose it the next week to Victor Rivera and Batman, who are the current two-time tag team champions. Also considering two-time tag team champions, just going to throw it out there, Gina Tone, Kay Noble, two-time tag team champions. In fact, did they start the year? No, they didn't. Okay. Then we have our United States champion, currently Toru Tanaka. We started off the year with Toru Tanaka as the United States champion. He did lose it, unfortunately, in the first week of January to Gorilla Monsoon. Monsoon held that championship for quite a long time, January all the way up until July, before dropping it back to Toru Tanaka. Tanaka becoming a two-time United States champion because of that. We'll go ahead and jump to the World Junior Heavyweight Championship. Starting off this year, we had George Steele as our junior champion, who defended it all the way up until November of 1971 before losing to Victor Rivera. Rivera, unfortunately, didn't manage one defense of the championship before losing it to the current champion, Ivan Koloff. And now our WWF World Heavyweight Champion currently stands as Ernie Ladd. I don't want to bring race into this at all, but the whole big thing of, Kofi Kingston, the first ever black WWE champion, we ain't never going to have to deal with that problem because we solved that problem all the way back in the year 1971 because the King, Ernie Ladd, baby, is the WWF World Heavyweight Champion. I went ahead and I took a sip of our new sponsor of the video since this is the local to global portion. Sierra Mist. Still Pepsi, though. Anyway, starting off the year, we had Killer Kowalski as the champion. Defeated Bruno Sammartino, ending his long reign, become the third ever WWF champion, and was dethroned in July of 1971 by the current champion, Ernie Ladd. And Ladd has gone on to defend the championship against the likes of Ivan Koloff, Killer